Doing pretty aight. I got some spaghetti that I made for us. I hope you're not munching on it. It's not crunchy. You're making my spaghetti sound bad. Just you?
Okay then, now he should be able to hear me. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry about that. Welcome to Brony Debates. I hope you're all doing well. Sorry we're a bit late. We were making dinner. Heather made some delicious. Yeah, Heather made some delicious spaghetti. I had to do that charity stream, and now we're going back to work here. I've also got a little bit of a cough. Pardon me for a second. Anyway, we got a really interesting topic that was suggested by Heather tonight. So, Heather, what made you want to talk about this topic?
What really came to my mind, and you probably all heard about this in the news. It's a little. No, I wouldn't say old because I think it was still in the news this year. But like in internet time, that was ages ago. If it's not headlines right now. Was the Panera Surged Lemonade thing. If you guys aren't familiar, Panera came out with a new drink called Surged Lemonade. The lemonade is caffeinated. It had more caffeine in it than like a energy drink, which is astounding. And the thing is, people were drinking this not knowing it was an energy drink, and experiencing all sorts of side effects. Unfortunately, 2 people were killed drinking this because the first was a college girl who had a heart condition, and she drank like 3 of these in a day, and of course it was too much for her heart to handle, and she passed away. The second one was I believe a mentally handicapped man who would always do things in a set of 3. His caregiver would take him to Panera for dinner, and of course he liked the surged lemonade, so he'd have 3 surged lemonades in a meal, and because of his other conditions, it eventually caused him to have a heart attack and pass away. I looked at both of these things, and it's a very divisive and sad topic because these deaths were completely preventable. But I guess my thought is, whose fault is it? I mean, I don't like to cast blame, but the whole situation upset me immensely. It made me angry on both sides. For one, they brought down the caffeine dosage as they should have. The Surge Lemonade, though, was originally 350 milligrams, guys. To put that in perspective, the American Health, I believe it was the FDA actually, said that the most you should have in a day, and this this is like the maximum that you can have in a day or you'll freaking keel over and die, is 400 milligrams. Like, I'm being dramatic, but they said that you should cap your caffeine intake at that 400 milligrams. So if you drank just 1 serving size of this charged lemonade, don't attempt to have anything with caffeine in it for the rest of the day, because you're going to start experiencing very severe symptoms really fast. And of course, this is even worse for someone like with the first girl who very clearly had a heart condition. According to her roommate, she always was looking into the stuff she put into her body. But I guess in this case, she did not, because by law, establishments like restaurants like Panera have to provide you ingredients and nutrition facts upon request. So that would mean she looked at this Surge Lemonade and thought, oh, it's just lemonade. And she didn't ask for the ingredients list, didn't know there was caffeine, and drank all of this. Like I said, she was a college student, probably studying a lot. We've all been there. We drink stuff to keep us awake. But I guess in this scenario, she just didn't. I don't understand how this could have happened when her family and friends all say that she was someone who really was always very careful of what she ate because she knew of her condition. That's just how it happened. She had too much of this drink, this caffeine she shouldn't have had in her body to begin with, because it would mess with her heart condition, and she died. The second scenario was, I believe, a mentally handicapped man, from what I understand. If you guys in the comments know more about this story, please correct me, because this story was a little more fresh and I didn't see it as much. But yes, this man had a caregiver who took him to Panera because she thought Panera would be a more healthy option for dinner. And I gotta say, I hate it when people say that. Panera has a drive-through. It's fast food. Their main thing, that the best thing you can get from them is their bagels, because they make those on a daily basis. It's canned soup and bread, guys. It's not healthy. But moving on from that, she knew that he had these conditions and that he always consumed things in numbers of 3. So he had 3 of these surged lemonades at dinner with his conditions. This one really frustrated me, because if you know that the person you're taking care of has these conditions and doesn't, and probably wouldn't think to look into these things themselves, because again, I don't know exactly what his mental handicap was, but if you're his caregiver, why were you not looking or asking for nutrition facts for something new he was trying? Like, we live in America, guys. There are things that are legal here for us to consume that aren't legal in other parts of the world. I don't understand how people do that. Like, I'm looking at the nutrition facts of everything I pick up that I consume without, like, just by second nature at this point. I understand not everyone has that reflex, but when you're taking care of another human being, I don't know how you don't do that. It's boggles my brain that this happened. Like I said, both very preventable deaths. So that's what really brought it on for me, because people want to blame Panera because it's the big bad company, and of course it is. It's a fucking corporation. It's a franchise. Yes, there's very selfish people who want to just make money off of the things they give you, and they don't care if it's nutritionally great for you or anything, but they don't want to actually kill you. At least, especially not in that way. And by law, they technically didn't do anything wrong. If they'd been asked for nutrition facts, they would have been given to the person. But I don't know, because then it goes into, do I want to blame these people for their own deaths? Obviously, I don't blame the man. I would blame more the caregiver he had who didn't look into it. But these are just regular people. And you don't want to say it's a regular person's fault that someone died, because that feels like a lot, but I guess that's why I'm here today. I wanted to talk about this because it's an upsetting situation, and I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be putting blame. Maybe it's half and half, but I want to discuss that today.
That's a lot, and yeah, that's I find that very interesting. I could go either way on it, so I'm hoping to learn something here. But before we do that, we got to thank everybody who supports the channel monetarily, especially the $10 and up tier on Patreon, such as you yourself, Heather. There's also there's also Shady, Sid, Autoknight, Emerald, Senko, DJ, Rein-Kun, Billy, Alden, Easy Mode, Kanto, Mr. Sonic, Alicia Lynette, Calbeck, StarChaser, VentureCorp, Willyzin, Icanus, Gruila, Vulpecula, Raptor's Talon, Jimmy D. Banthrall Jr., and Dark Malcontent. So if you'd like to be on the show, we'd love to have you. Just check the Patreon for as little as $1 a month. You can see how you can do that and what you get in return. Now then, so here's the thing. The reason why we have regulations and what do you call it? The FDA and the CDC and things like that is because a lot of these corporations will do these crappy things. And if they're unregulated, they have shown historically that they will cut the corners, or they will do whatever's good for their marketing to make that extra dollar. Unfortunately, when it comes to money, nobody cares about human life. That's why, Jesus said the love of money is the root of all evil. So you get things like that going on. So the thing, and even with the example that we're talking about here with Panera, it's hard for people to be aware of what they're doing because they don't put that information in plain view. So, and it's also possible that they were lying about it. So that's an investigation that I think needs to happen. What do you think so far, Heather? Because right now I'm sort of putting the blame on I'm putting the blame on the corporation for making something like that. They're supposed to run that type of thing by the FDA. They're supposed to run that thing by you know, a whole bunch of there's so many layers to these things getting put to market that they have to go through, and the fact that they didn't shows me negligence on their part. What do you think about that situation?
Don't get me wrong. I know the corporation sucks, and yeah, maybe something like that shouldn't have been made. Like, it's absolutely... But the thing is, they technically did everything they were supposed to do. I mean, I know you said they just had some other stuff to do, but as far as I know, they were they were below the limit of what the FDA said would be an acceptable amount of milligrams per day. They can't control whether or not you have more than the recommended amount. You shouldn't, but it's America, and because we have these freedoms, we are free to overindulge in a lot of stuff. So they could be like, well, they have the best defense of, like, technically they could have asked for, like, they could go the route I just said, like, they should have asked for the nutrition facts so they would have known what they were putting in their body. All this information of what we put inside this is perfectly publicly available, easy to access, and they just didn't do it, because otherwise why would they keep consuming this thing that was so very clearly bad for their health? And I hate to do that, but that's all true, isn't it? Because they don't even have to lie in this argument. Like, no doubt, because I know they're being sued, but no doubt they're going to settle because that looks better for the company. You don't want to, like, freaking beat into the ground the people who have dead family members because that just looks bad for business. This whole situation, like, oddly enough, I was going to just say the whole situation looks bad for business. But then again, I keep seeing on TikTok people going like, yeah, I'm about to go to Panera to drink the lemonade that kills you. It's going to be great. And it's just like, wow, like the company isn't really hurting that bad for this thing. And again, the headlines aren't in the news anymore. Barely anyone cares anymore. It's just, they have the perfect defense of, like, well, we did everything you told us to do. We provided nutrition facts upon request. We did it below the 400 milligram dosage, and yeah, we technically didn't do anything wrong. And I'm a person that gets stuck on technicality. It's like if the cats had sentience, and I told them you can't sit on the counter, they would, like, put a towel on the counter and be like, well, I'm not on the counter, I'm on the towel. And I'm like, you smart ass little shit. It's just, it's a difficult situation all around. And since then, they have brought the caffeine dosage down on the lemonade. I'm not going to give them credit, but I'm going to say, like, they did that, so it's not going to kill you anymore. Well, you know, unless you have one of those conditions and you drink a whole bunch of it like these people did.
Yeah. So, by the same token, you see, it's hard for me to fully take a side on this as well. In this particular case, I'm sort of leaning more towards the corporate responsibility, because why would you make something like that in the first place? Right? However, I don't know if these people did everything that they can do to go through that, to check what's in it. There's definitely some negligence on the part of that social worker.
And
that caretaker.
I wouldn't say she was a social worker.
Yeah, caretaker is the right word, but yeah.
I do want to say, they wouldn't have died if they had just one. Because in both cases, I read the articles, it wasn't like they just drank one and then died. It was because, like, the man I told you about, he would do it in 3, so he overdid it with those. And with the girl, she was in college and, you know, just, like, probably didn't know about the caffeine, and noticed when she drank the lemonade, though, that she felt more energized, so she kept drinking it. It was the continued consumption. So the company also has the defense of, yeah, it didn't kill them right away. It's because they overconsumed. Just like alcohol companies can be like, hey, yeah, they abused the alcohol. It's not the alcohol's fault. They just had too much of it.
Mm-hmm. By the same token, right, 'cause like I was saying, I'm sort of leaning more towards corporate on this one, but there are many, many instances in which case I will put the blame on the individual for, you know, basically finding out the consequences of their own actions, not doing their due diligence. It sucks that somebody would make that thing in the first place, and it really should have never gone to market. But there's a lot of things out there that do go to market anyway. However, we have a real problem in our culture of people not doing their due diligence and not understanding how nutrition works or things work in general and doing things to themselves. Here's another point against it, being corporate is there's a lot of very credible conspiracy theories out there that say something roughly to the effect of these corporations lobby to have these things not taught in education, and then even if it is taught in education, which for me it was, the education I received in my public school wasn't horrible, but the way that it's taught for most people, they don't absorb it and they don't care. And at a certain point, we got to kind of accept the losses as a society until we turn it around and take that personal responsibility and demand that these corporations do better, and demand that, if they are lobbying and giving money to politicians to omit these things from the curriculum, so that people can't even be educated about what they're putting in their bodies and what effect it's going to have on them, that stops, right? And hopefully, it's extremely morbid what I'm saying here, and I fully acknowledge that, but I think hopefully there will be enough bodies to pave the way to something better, where society wakes up and takes responsibility for themselves. And everything that implies in terms of the political culture that surrounds this issue. What do you think, Heather?
It's just a befuddling situation, I gotta say. I want to address something I saw in chat. I know it's not exactly time yet, but this question is very interesting, relevant. Gojillian91 asked, do you think that lemonade should have been banned from Panera Bread moving forward? Because they still have it. It just has a lesser caffeine dosage. And I gotta say, it probably should have been, and like Brawny said, never something brought to the market. But there are lots of things that we consume on a daily basis that shouldn't have been in the market in the first place, and they still exist, and we still love them. The lemonade's probably delicious. It's just...
And there's something I forgot to bring up that I really should. In addition to personal responsibility, there's the people you mentioned that are like making TikToks saying, I'm going to Panera to go get the lemonade that kills people. So when the first time you told me that story, which was back in early January, that reminded me of how drug addicts do the exact same thing. So if you get people who are just addicted to fentanyl, or addicted to heroin, or addicted to this, that, or the other thing, right? And they live in the drug addict culture. Inevitably someone dies. People die like that several times a day, all over the country and everywhere. And a rational person would think that's a wake-up call for the society around them, not to a drug addict. These guys go, oh, that must be the good stuff, or oh, that guy that died was a wimp, was weak, was not strong. I'll bet you I can handle the stuff that killed him. And then they go seek out that bad fentanyl, that bad batch of fentanyl, or that weed that was cut with something else, or that heroin, and they just get deeper and deeper into it. And now we're seeing the exact same thing with basic white chicks at Panera Bread. And
trust me, it's the teenagers mostly.
It is a baffling aspect of human psychology that they do that, but maybe, just maybe, Charles Darwin was onto something, and we need to let these people weed themselves out of the gene pool. Man, I am morbid tonight. This is the most morbid I've ever been on this show, but I don't see any other.
It's a morbid topic.
Yeah.
It's a morbid topic because we got to remember that caffeine is a drug. There's no getting around it. It's a drug, and it feels really hypocritical me saying it because lately I feel like I'm consuming more caffeine as of late since we got those energy drinks that taste really good, but to my benefit or to my credit, I only indulge in one a day, if at all.
Indeed.
But it's just we could sue so many things that are just basically drugs, and all these kids are just addicted to the stuff. They definitely are displaying the traits that you're talking about. They want to go see, like, and also they have if they even read the articles, they have the excuse of, well, I don't actually have the pre-existing condition that these people had, and so it won't kill me, but I'll get to, like, drink the meme juice or whatever.
Yeah, but if you do it enough, you will develop a heart problem.
Exactly that, or you can have, like, a condition that you don't know about because you never triggered it before. Like, you're either gonna make the condition appear, or you're gonna find out, oh, I actually did have it all this time, and I just never, like, freaking agitated it enough to where it was a problem.
Indeed. So where are you leaning more towards?
A part of me is still like, people really just don't want to take care of themselves, and maybe that's why we need to have corporate take more responsibility, because everyone's fucking stupid. But another part of me is just like, no, stupid people, learn something. Freaking I don't know. It's like, because I think of alcohol as well. Alcohol is something that we can all enjoy in moderation and no one gets hurt and it's fine. But then some people take it too damn far, and then we got, like, drunk drivers and stuff like that. The only reason that stuff's still here and it's still bad for us is because people like it so damn much. They tried prohibition and it didn't work. So we have to have, like, frickin' corporate be responsible and have to endorse, hey, drink in moderation so they don't look bad, because the wackos who take it too far, like, their families can always turn to them and be like, well, it's this company's fault for making alcohol in the first place, for existing.
Well,
and
also,
we definitely, like, we could do that. Yeah.
Well, it's not really a corporate thing either, because if you have them take over responsibility, we're going to get original formula Coca-Cola again, where, you know, people were getting mugged for it because it was made with actual cocaine and people were getting addicted. And, and Coca-Cola never had a problem with that. They got their profits. You know, the love of money is the root of all evil. Screw everybody else.
Yeah, dude, freaking, and a stupid monkey brain part of me is going, man, I never liked Coke and think it's crappy. I wonder if cocaine made it actually good.
But it is a really interesting aspect of human psychology that we just seek out things that are actively harmful to us. I don't understand it. I don't know many other animals that do that.
It's knowingly. Because we're in society and we're bored and we need a thrill.
Like, I know dolphins will agitate blowfish so that it can get high off of the toxins of the blowfish. But I don't think...
yeah, did you know grizzly bears in, like, Canada were, like, popping gas barrels and like puffing the gas to get high and then passing out?
Yeah, but I don't think they know that that's bad for them. Humans don't have that excuse.
Well, they do. They just ignore it. They just like the dopamine rush, and they're like, if I don't get this rush, why would I even be alive to begin with? It's a very just, like, a self-destructive thing. It's a lot sadder in that way, because an animal doesn't know what's good or bad for it. That's what I love about animals, and I think they're the most innocent creatures on earth. They don't know good from wrong, like evil from just, or anything like that. They know what the world teaches them and what you teach them. And what all they knew from that is that when I do this, I get a pleasant sensation and I feel good, and that's it. That's all they understand.
Indeed. So it really is hard to figure out, and I'm bouncing back and forth myself here, because society needs to be better and not encourage people to be drunkards or challenge things that they know are harmful, or in general, and just things that are bad for them. We need to encourage people to be more self-aware of what they're putting into their body and what they're putting into their mind, and know their body better, but we don't. And part of that is corporate meddling. So it's really hard for me to draw the line. What do you?
Yes. Heather? Sorry, I was whispering at food.
You okay?
I thought you wouldn't hear it.
I'm gonna have to get you a mixer, Heather.
Sorry, I was trying to text him, but I did Emerald, and he came in and whispered like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "Take my bowling, bring me more spaghetti."
So,
it was good spaghetti.
It is very good spaghetti. Sorry. I've had a couple of bites while you've been talking.
I really went on a rant at the beginning of this. I hope you appreciate that. And I think it's because this is a subject that, like, I battle with a lot just thinking about this.
And
like,
by
this
the
just
same
pops
token, corporations will kill us. And
yeah, or at least enough of us. Like, if you kill all of us, there's no money. But if you just kill a little bit, you know, a little collateral.
It's also of note that some corporations are run by, like, extreme psychopaths that, yeah, they do want to kill all of us. You know, my favorite one is Bill Gates.
Yeah, they're insane.
My favorite one is Bill Gates, who you know, has been on record for most of his time in public life going, oh, we need to depopulate humans 80 to 90%. Like, oh, the frick? Okay.
Like, Jesus.
Are you willing to volunteer, Mr. Gates?
He hates people and wants to replace them with robots, just like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk.
Mark Zuckerberg is a robot.
He was the first.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg is the start of the Matrix.
Jesus. Like, you notice people that get to the top just go nuts. It's like they fill them with something and they just lose their minds and lose complete, like, grasp of reality. It's crazy.
Harriman says, don't tell Heather about chimps going to war or how mongoose will form rotating battle groups with tired frontline mongooses rotating back like a phalanx. I actually didn't know the thing about the mongoose, but I know that chimps...
I need to Google the mongoose.
Chimps are legitimately psychopathic, though.
Oh yeah, they're crazy. They're scary. I don't trust no chimps. I mean,
yeah, like you can hang out with a gorilla. You can hang out with a gorilla or any large ape. If you hang out with a chimp, you're probably gonna die.
Yeah, I'm not cool with them. I really am not. But the thing, you know that it's another cause that we should support with charity. It's something I found out by us driving past some protesters on the street in front of a Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Was like they had signs up. Like, we passed them first, and I was like, what are they protesting? And we passed them again, and I was actually able to look at it, and they were just like, Whole Foods uses slave monkey labor. And I was like, what? And I forget if DJ looked up the article for me, and he goes like, yes, for some of their produce, in the place where they are harvested, they use monkeys to go up into the trees and pick the fruit for them. And I'm like, what? No! Do you pay the monkeys? He's like, obviously not if they're slaves. I'm like, oh my god! I'm doing this in Pal World.
We're just as bad as Amazon,
the monkey chop
Heather.
Down the trees. We're making the tansies chop down the trees.
We've got to
be fair, I pay them.
Yeah, we've got a goat and a cat mining ore for us.
A goat, yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, okay, what I do, I can't be held responsible for what I do in a video game, but doing it in real life, guys, you can't scream at monkeys the way I do in video games to a real monkey. That's fucked up.
So, yeah, but now how is corporate responsible for your actions in the video game, though?
You know, Pal World has a lot of controversy surrounding it to begin with, so I don't know.
We should have a relatively shorter stream tonight. I hope that's okay with everybody in the audience. So, I am seeing a lot of new names in the chat tonight, which I'm very happy about. I hope they're coming from that blockbuster of a charity stream I just had. So let me explain how this works. Normally, we go for about 45 minutes, sometimes a little over if the conversation is good, but around the 45-minute mark is when we get into what I call audience participation. So I have been looking over the chat while we've been talking and taking note of things that I think are interesting or questions that you guys may have that we're going to get to later. You also have the option of calling into the show by clicking the Discord link at the very top of the description. That'll take you to the server. And what I want you to do once you're in the server is put in a raised hand emoji and tell me what you would like to say or talk about in relation to the topics at hand. And if I think it's interesting, if I want to learn more about it, I will give you permission to come into the voice chat, and we can talk about what it is. Like I saw one person up there, I believe it was Little Pip. Hopefully you are still listening. So that's how you get on the show. That's why the voice chat is locked the way it is. Now then, let's see here. Nathan Duazo says, but yeah, we're gonna have a shorter stream tonight. We're gonna get an audience participation now because Heather needs to stream directly after this, and after that charity stream, I am a little tired myself. Now then, Nathan Duazo says, my opinion is personal responsibility is so hard that my body gets stressed too easily, except my brain. And to be totally honest, I have no idea what that means. So personal responsibility is hard. I will tell you that. That does not absolve you of it. In fact, taking that responsibility and being strong for it is what makes you human. It's what puts you above the animals. So do your best. Now then, Harriman says onions don't get eaten by most animals because of their strong flavor. So yeah, Brawny has a good point. Well, that's humans are uniquely capable of eating a lot of foods that most animals can't. Caffeine, mint, rosemary, peppers, onions, lots of nightshades, poisonous to a lot of animals. Cashews. Actually, no, cashews are poisonous to humans too. Their shells are covered in toxins that'll melt your skin, so they have to be manually dehusked while wearing like thick gloves. So that's so how the heck did the first person ever find a good cashew to eat? That's crazy to me. But yeah, humans' abilities to do that is what makes us at the top of the food chain. Let's see here. We got Uwe Mazadl. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Who says Mark Zuckerberg is a reptile and wants humanity to become reptiles. Uwe is that's the first time I'm seeing your name in the chat. Welcome to the show. Hopefully I've earned your viewership. Taylor Clark, I haven't seen in a while. Says Brawny, idea for debate: depictions of war in fan fiction. Ooh, you know,
that's very specific.
I gotta get Fiora on this show if Fiora would be willing to talk to me.
Yeah, we could. They would have a fanfic perspective, but we could make it more general and be like war depicted in fictional settings.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Well,
so we cover a little bit more.
Yeah, and Fiora's whole thing is Fallout Equestria, which is pretty universally.
It's more dealing with the aftermath of war. So it's in a way it's still.
Well, in Fallout Equestria, there is a straight up war going on, and it's.
I have not read it, so I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see here. Jinx Productions is another name I haven't seen before. Says there's a reason why the main villain in the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes was a chimp. They're psychotic. Creepy Nugget is a name I haven't seen before. I'm loving all these new names, guys.
I love it.
Yeah, welcome to...
I love that name in particular.
Well, I'm loving the fact that I'm seeing so many new names. Let's see. I just arrived thinking I was going to listen to corporate stuff, but instead I'm now listening to Monkey Discord.
Monkey!
This guy has a name that... This person, I don't even know, has a name that I can... It doesn't appear to be letters. It's boxes and odd symbols.
I saw that one.
How did you write your name in hieroglyphics? But anyway, please tell me your name and how to address you. I am direly curious. But anyway, mystery person here says, "Hi everyone, I'm new like new. Well, welcome to the show. I hope you're enjoying. Let me know if if you have any ideas of what to talk about." Let's see here. That's and I'm at the bottom of the chat. Heather, did you see anything you wanted to address?
Return to Monkey by Uwe Mazzato.
That's what attracted all these new people. They heard we were talking about monkeys, and they're really susceptible to it. They like monkeys. They want to hear more about the monkeys. I don't
we
know that much
guys,
about monkeys,
I gotta
guys.
learn more. I gotta learn more about the monkey slave labor and contribute to whatever charity is helping these monkeys. Because I gotta get on the simian good side before Planet of the Apes happens.
Indeed, indeed. Paladin Pony T wants to know if I'm still planning to do a fan fiction like book club on this channel, which is an idea I had floated out loud a long time ago. And listen, I would love to do that, but I need to be full-time as an editor. I cannot take on one more project. I do not have the strength, and I do not have the time.
Spread too thin.
As it is, my health is not in good shape right now. So yeah, we got all that going on. So let's try to think of a way to close this out here, Heather. I know it's a short stream, and I hope that's okay with you know, the audience and the patrons here.
Guys.
But no, it's perfectly fine, man. And maybe we'll come back to this topic when we have more people on. We probably should revisit, which is rare for me. You know, I don't like to revisit topics, but we'll try to get more people on and talk about this. So I'm still leaning more towards that the charge lemonade should have never existed. And the whole reason we have these regulatory bodies, the whole reason we have these regulatory bodies is to prevent instances like the charged lemonade. So someone got paid off because marketing focus group said that this was going to be better for sales, or people just weren't doing their jobs, or possibly both, right? And at a certain point, people do have to take personal responsibility. In fact, I am usually of the mindset that people need to take personal responsibility, but society is going to have to change for that, and people need to actually take that responsibility. We can't really hold it against them if they didn't know about the charged lemonade while they were going in. But you really, you know, this. Hopefully, that's a awakening that tells you, hey, I need to be more careful and more healthy and know what I'm putting into my body and how it's going to affect me. But the whole reason we have this problem is because corporations do this type of stuff. So while I'm not going to absolve people of personal responsibility in this case, I'm still putting it more towards it is Panera's fault. This thing should have never existed. And there are many, many, many other instances of corporate meddling really hurting people. So what do you think, Heather?
I think, like, I guess ultimately, yeah, Panera should have never made this thing to begin with. But I'm still so frustrated because even as it's happening, like, I'd see these comments on the bottom of these articles, people who work at Panera see, like, yeah, it doesn't really matter, though, because like they see people buying this stuff for their kids, like being so negligent to not even worry about what's going in their own kids' bodies, that they don't look into it, and they give these caffeinated beverages to their own children. Like the same thing with Prime. Prime is a drink. It's an energy drink, and its most popular market is kids. I'm not talking like late teens, but like preteen kids. It's just, I guess I'm just upset all around. Like Panera got, like, I guess it's because I'm not as mad with Panera because I expect it. I expect the corporate to do something like this. I feel like that's just expected, that they're always going to pull some kind of bullshit and make something that you shouldn't consume. But at the same time, like, I look at other people and I'm like, it's like they're falling for a trick. Like every time they fall for the same trick, and it upsets me immensely because I know better, and I'm a pretty average person, average-brained individual, and I guess it makes me think that other people should know better before partaking in this thing, and I'm just upset all around, and I guess because my anger isn't so much for the corporation, because I expect this kind of behavior from them, but I expect people to be a little smarter than what they are. I'm upset more with them, and that's not fair, and it's kind of victim-blaming, and I don't want to do that, and it's... I don't know.
Well, you and I both know that most of the time, people don't take responsibility for themselves or their charges.
Which is so disappointing.
Like, we have family. We both have family. that feeds their kids Twinkies and calls it a meal.
Yeah,
Or the Stouffer's microwave dinners, hard. You know?
Yeah, and it's hard being a parent. As kids are picky. Like, I was just talking to my mother today, and she was with one of my nephews. And they were taking them out to fast food. That's fine to do sometimes. But we had one nephew who wouldn't eat anything other than fries and ketchup because he doesn't like burgers or hot dogs or basically any meat. And I'm like, where's this kid getting his protein from? And she's just like,
Isn't that the one with all the health problems?
No, the younger one. His brother. Nah, like the one you're thinking about, it's odd enough he has the health problems, but he'll eat anything. Like, he's not a picky eater. It's funny.
Yeah. So personal responsibility is like 90% of it, but in cases like this, I don't put it fully on them. Like, you should have been more careful, but I'm also less likely to persecute ignorance. I can be sympathetic. I can be sympathetic to ignorance. I can't be sympathetic to when you should have known better.
Yeah.
And this one strikes me as ignorance. Now, the caretaker of the mentally handicapped man who died, that is negligence. That is a manslaughter charge is what that is. So,
yeah, it's just a difficult situation all the way around. I obviously don't blame that man at all. And as for the girl, maybe she just had a small lapse in judgment. She was just like, oh, a lemonade. And I guess that's easy to do, to just see something so unassuming and be like, oh, this has a lemonade. You don't automatically think lemonade, energy drink. I get it. And it feels like a mistake I would make, but maybe that's what makes it so frustrating. I like in the past, I would have made that mistake, but these days I would not. I really look at caffeine doses very close, especially caffeine doses very closely these days, because I notice when I have a lot, I get the little flittery heart, and I hate that. So yeah, I'm always looking at everything I drink, being like, how much sugar, how much caffeine, and then I debate from there whether or not it's okay.
Indeed. Well, I'm going to call the stream here tonight, Heather. Is there anything you'd like to say? Like, did you learn anything tonight?
I think this was a good exchange of thoughts and stuff. I'm definitely been able to really examine how I feel about the situation more, because I've been able to just say it all out loud, because I know I've been ranting about it on and off for a while now with you, but it's just to get it all out there and to really think about this. And I think I'm coming at it in a logical perspective, but I'm a human being with bias and emotions get pulled in there. So I think that it's helped me go into the situation with a little less bias and a little less, letting less of the frustration and emotions get into it. I think at the end of the day, I want to tell everyone, though, everyone in the chat, please, please, please think about what you're putting in your bodies. Check your nutrition facts. Know your limitations and enjoy everything in moderation.
If you don't think you're healthy, I happen to be a personal trainer, so
shameless plug.
Yeah, I listen. Sign up on the Patreon. I would be more than happy to help you. And even if you can't afford the Patreon, just send me a message. Say, hey, I got these issues, and I will point you in the right direction of how to help yourself. Jinx Production says Brawny streams have been brought to you today by the letter M for monkey. Xander says caffeine is addictive and legal, so let's add it. Yeah, that it's speaking on behalf of a corporation, right? Yeah, it's addictive. It can be addictive. So, well, here's the thing about addiction: is literally anything can be addictive if it, that particular
if you
thing.
Like it enough.
Yeah, if that particular thing releases it triggers the release of an addictive chemical in your brain, then yeah, it can become addictive. Some people are just susceptible to that kind of thing. To a certain degree, addiction is genetic. So, you got that sort of issue there. But yeah, you know what, Heather? I know I rarely do this, but we're going to do it for this one. We're going to come back to this topic someday. Hopefully someday soon. We're going to get somebody, because you and I are too, you and I are too similar. We're both really balanced in this thing, so we can't really get much else out of what we've already said. So we're going to get a couple of more people on here someday on this topic who are more extreme to one direction or
divisive.
another. Yeah, who are more solid in one camp and the other. We're going to get one of each. And then we'll really get into the meat and potatoes of this. But in the meantime, you've got to prepare for a stream. I need to get a little bit of rest. Thanks to everybody who tuned in, especially if it's your first time. We'd love to have you back. We're very glad you came on and watched. Hopefully, I've earned your continued viewership. And if you would like to support the channel, see what else we do, be sure to just check out the channel. The link trees in the description are how you can support me and what you get in return, one of which is suggesting the topics that we talk about on the show and coming on yourself if you've got a good microphone and an internet connection and can string 2 sentences together. I would love to have you on. So anyway, I need all 17 of you right now to go subscribe to Princess Heather Blossom if you're not already, and head over to her channel because in about 9 minutes she's going to start streaming. What are you doing tonight, Heather?
Chaos and crochet. So we're just going to chill out in my office, crochet. Maybe we can even talk a little more about this with people in the chat if they have opinions, or maybe something else. We are always finding new things to talk about. I interact a lot with chat in this one, more than I do in other streams. So I look forward to seeing you all there.
Indeed, indeed. So stay safe. God bless. Thanks to all the patrons, especially on the $10 and up tier, such as Heather and Shady and Sid, Autoknight, Emerald, Senko, DJ, Rain, Billy, Alden, Easy, Kanto, Sonic, Alicia, Calbeck, StarChaser, VentureCorp, Willyzin, Icanus, Vulpecula, Raptors Talon, Jimmy, and Malcontent, executive producer of Titan Art Studios. They have a bunch of content links in the description as well in the supporters link tree. So once again, stay safe, God bless, and have a wonderful night, everybody. Say goodnight, Heather.